Hey X, I spent a year in an Ayahuasca cult. I'm still super fucked up about it, so I figured I'd green text some of my experiences and maybe it'll help me feel better. Feel free to stick around to lurk, ask questions, or roast me endlessly.
Where was this cult located and what do you think distinguished it from normal Ayahuasca retreats?
My story starts when I was in a relatively good place, all things considered. Be me 21, good job that I love, beautiful girlfriend, awesome roommate, men's group that we host once a week at my place. If you only knew how good things really were. Be super into drugs, roommate and I did a ton of LSD, shrooms, you name it. We're super tight, consider him a brother. We'll call him S for future reference. My other friend, he comes to our friend group weekly and another 3 times a week to work out. He is in his 50s and has a son a little younger than me. Met him while I was tripping mad face on LSD. All around super cool dude. It's technically a church. They have locations in dozens of countries all around the world. I'll get into this more later, but all of this happened in the US. What separates it from normal retreats is the control that the church exhibits on its members, the intelligence network of spying they've created, and the sinister nature of the church itself. Again, I'll do my best to get into it all. There's a lot. He starts dating this new girl on and off for a little while. We're all rooting for him because he's just such a great guy and deserves all the happiness in the world. Eventually it comes out that his new girl is a member of this Ayahuasca church. S and I are super curious. We've smoked DMT together but never done Ayahuasca. I mentioned to E that I'm interested and ask if he can get me out there. He's a little hesitant to talk about it. Says it's not really like a fun thing, it's a religion. Not a big fan of religion, but it seems like they have some good tea time passes. A couple of months he ends up joining the church. S ends up joining before me as well. He's a kiddo teacher, turned out to be part of this church as well. Turns out there's a lot of people we know that are a part of it, but for some reason never mentioned it. Found out later it's an explicit rule to not talk about the church. Ducking creepy, but I don't think too much of it. Actually stoked since now I have multiple avenues to join the church, both S and E. Lab. This is less of a trip report and more of a collection of experiences from my time in the cult. I had dozens of supernatural encounters, but we'll get there when we get there. Everything from astral projection, communication with spirits and otherworldly beings, telepathy, precognition, and so much more. There's so much, I just have to take it slowly for now. Anyway, I start to notice changes in S. He's acting more distant towards me and is generally less playful. Before this we would play fight, spar with our different martial art styles, banter, general mid-20s dude stuff. Yes, stops doing it entirely for some reason. I realize now that the church had already been turning him against me, but not because they knew me yet, but because my personality didn't mesh with their teachings. I ask him if he can get me my first cup of tea. He declines. I'm actually hurt and heartbroken. How dare he keep this from me? He explains he'd be responsible for me if he brought me to the church and he doesn't want to handle that quite yet, but he's lying. He doesn't want me there. For some reason he still agrees to take me. I still think about how quickly S changed and how different he used to be. He's getting married to some girl he met in the church soon. Spooky shit, dude. The friend I knew is gone, replaced by someone else. Continued. I wish it was Anon. I really do. S continues to act weird, comes home late from the sessions. Sometimes at like 5 AM. One week he comes home and asks me to move out. It wasn't completely out of nowhere, but I'm still hurt by it. Week of my Aventiccio finally arrives. Tell girlfriend all about it on a really nice date night. She's not into drugs but can see I'm excited. She's actually super supportive. Around this same time my ex had been sending me nudes. I hadn't asked for them, but I also didn't tell her to stop, kept it from my girlfriend. We'll come back to this. Day of the Aventiccio finally arrives. Wake up kinda early to my cat killing a bird. She doesn't finish the job, have to kill the bird. First time I did this, it left me emotionally wrecked for a week. Not stoked to do it on the same day I'm drinking Ayahuasca for the first time. Picture of the mangled bird corpse is still etched into my brain. Know that it's going to come up later. Whatever, we have to drive to the church site. 3 hours one way, beautiful drive. We get there and I'm super nervous. It starts with eating dinner, start meeting members of the church, recognize some familiar faces. Like my server from last night from the date with my girlfriend. Damn, this churches has way more members than I thought. Enjoy dinner. Can't really eat much though since I'm so nervous. Time comes, all the church members put on their uniforms. Everyone is in green shirts. The dude leading the session is in blue. We all get our tea. But I don't have a lot. Maybe 2 fingers in a small glass. Kinda upset that I didn't get more, but oh well. Session starts. The church members are speaking and singing in Portuguese. Continued.
Go away, life is alert, live guy.
At first I don't feel anything, but then I start to think about my girlfriend. Get really fucked up that I didn't tell her about my crazy XGF sending me nudes. Strangely the bird thing doesn't come up. Not a lot of visuals like I'm used to with DMT, just a strong force of evil that inhabits my body. I vomit violently into the trash can and the kitchen trip stops entirely. You know I kinda want more, ask for more, drink another cup. Q round 2. I have decided to discuss things with my girlfriend, but the tea has bigger plans for me. Totally lays me out. I'm put in the corner to lay down, just me and my water, which I'm drinking to stay hydrated. Visuals and full body out of experience triggered. Enter a time spiral where I can see all my past and future selves. My girlfriend is in the time spiral. In one instance she's pregnant with my child. This whole experience honestly just scares the shit out of me, but there's this optimistic feel to it, like somehow I can overcome the evil force here with me. Eventually I come back to reality. Fell asleep at one point apparently. According to others, session ends with the head of the church telling us how we need to be discreet about our experiences here. Doesn't want us posting about what happened online, kinda like what I'm doing here. I learned later that this was all part of a greater network for control, subversion, and secrecy. This church mostly operates in the shadows and I'm still unsure of how much power they really wield. Continued. Forgot to post this image. It's very similar to what I saw, but with images of myself in the spiral instead of others animals. Anyway, go back home after my aventitio fucking rocked to my core. Have to make a list of all the things I need to do, one of which is talking with my girlfriend. I explain the situation. My ex being severely mentally ill and thinking this was the best way to get attention. Girlfriend isn't having it, breaks up with me on the spot. Go into work hours reduced, only 2 days a week now. It's not even enough to pay rent. I'm also looking for a new place to live. Suddenly I'm single, almost homeless, and hurting for income. Cults operate by preying on people at their lowest. In my first week of being introduced to this cult, I was suddenly at my lowest in years, so they really got their hooks in me. Keep going to the church. Next session is way more chill, just kind of a nice reflective experience. Not much to write home about, still stressed about life, but everyone in the church is super supportive. Realize that they're like a family here. Feel like everything is going to be okay. Sure enough, I land a new job within a week. Yes, lets me stay an extra month. As I wait for a room in a different friend's house to open up, girlfriend comes crying back to me. We give it a month but it still doesn't work out, but at least I got some closure. Move-in date is approaching but I don't have a new job yet. Do a quick run across the state to make some money, net like $1,000 in a few weeks. On the side work things are looking up. Decide that the emotional support from the church has been super helpful. Tea is not so bad either. I'm really enjoying getting to drink it every 2 weeks or so.
Yes, he's posting it, understood.
Don't beat.
It's at this point where I start to notice personality shifts within myself. Friends have said things. I'm quieter, less offensive, maybe even kinder. I start getting these strange compliments about how nice my smile is or how put together I look. Kinda wild looking back on it, but there was definitely some sort of aura shift that occurred. People who were more in touch with the spiritual realm became more attracted to me all of a sudden. I began internalizing the dogma of the church, and it was helping me somehow. Anyway, day arrives that I decide to join the church. I tell the main dude, the mestre representante, the head priest, we'll call him JJ, and I talk a lot. I really like him and he seems to like me as well. We talk about former drug use and he opens up about his days as a crack addict. Whoa, totally crazy hearing the head of the church talk to me about his crack addiction and tells me to be careful what I call into my life. Once the only thing I wanted in life was a more consistent crack dealer. When I got it, it almost killed me. Noted, have to wait 2 weeks till the next session to officially join the church. Hyped. Usually I would carpool with others to the church. Since it was a long distance, decide that since it's my special day, I'll go alone, load up my Mustang and take off. There's two main ways to get there. The long way that uses mostly paved road, the short way that cuts off about 2 hours but cuts through the mountain roads. Couldn't take the short path previously because winter mountain road literally not maintained most of the year. Summer now you already know which one I picked. Grew up in the mountains so these roads are NBD. I'm running a little late so I'm going fast. Continued. I'm running a little late so I'm going fast. There's this one hairpin at the top of a hill. I hit that bitch going way too fast. Lose control of my early 2000s sports car. Just kinda ragdoll. Since there's not much I can do as my car flies through the air. Notice my bumper soar across my vision. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Finally come to a rest in the ditch. Car is pointed the opposite direction. I'm totally fine, thank fuck. Get out and assess the damage. 2 flat tires. Belt has come off the engine entirely. No cell service. Road is empty for miles. Last house I saw was a long time ago. Might I mention this is the boonies? The kind of place where people are kind, but they'll reach for their gun when they see a stranger on their property this far out. More than a little nervous to be stranded out here next to a large field, and I have my camping gear so it's not all bad. Mid-June heat sucks so I chill in the shade of my car. I was already late but now I'm probably not gonna make it. Can't.
Moya, this better not end with a dinosaur and a sum of currency adding up to $3.50.
You arrived just in time, friend. We just got to the fun part. I was already late, but now I'm probably not gonna make it. A couple cars pass but no one is going far enough to get me there. Things are hopeless, but that's not within the teachings of the church to lose hope. I strengthen my resolve. Against all odds, I tell myself that there's a car just around the corner that will take me there. Feel kinda silly, but I throw my willpower into this thought. I hear something. It's a car approaching. They are going where I'm going. They are totally freaked out looking at my smoking car and a rattled young man. Take me to the destination anyway. 90% of the way there I see S driving the opposite direction. Honk. At this car I hop out and thank the kind people for taking me this far. Go to S. WTF are you doing here? IDK man, I could tell you were in trouble, so I came to get you. Tell him what happened. He had a premonition earlier, the day that I would crash. Knew it was true when I was late. We arrive in time to drink the tea. That story ended up becoming a classic after I told it in the session. I got my uniform and was officially part of the church. However, this was just the beginning of the strange paranormal stuff surrounding the church. I got my first of the weird stories that night. One of the associates is this burly dude named Ryan. Ryan is a scientist who works with the government. Work trip across the country, but to a city that has a nuclear. One of these churches with the T. He decides to bring his uniform. At airport security, his bag gets flagged. They claim there's something strange in his bag. Search it thoroughly. Obviously find nothing. They're extremely confused. Ask him about the metal plate in his bag. What metal plate? They show him those ray. Sure enough, there's a bright white rectangle in the middle of his bag, right where his uniform is. His uniform glows on this ray. They have to let him go, since they have nothing. Can't.
F off. Papa's doing a great job storytelling.
N-word, this isn't for your enjoyment, this is for me to process. S-word. Some more weird stories. They called the trip by this Portuguese name that directly translated to the force. I never really learned to write Portuguese, since I learned it phonetically anyway. These stories all happened while in the force or the Buachara. One session several months in, drink the tea, start of the session we have silence, or play music for about an hour, leave my body, can see everyone in the room, but as spirits in the parallel realm, we are all flames in the darkness. From each of us extends a thin smoky line of light. They all come together like strands in a rope at the ceiling. But the temple is suspended in space, and the light rope leads to a pool of light. They would talk about how there was a lake of Buachara, and I think this might have been it. It's hard to remember all of the dogma, teachings, and stories since everything was oral, nothing was written down. I spent a year becoming a respected part of the church, finding work with other members who worked in graphic design and technology. One woman who employed me was this woman B, who was married to my 8th grade history teacher, who was also a part of the church. This takes place before I was in the church. B has this neck/back issue that's quite serious. She can't sit comfortably for very long. Doctors can't help her either. They just give her pain meds. Others suggest surgery. Surgery doesn't help. One session B goes into a trance. They would sing shamatus or calls to God for certain things. One of them was a healing call. It's called while B is in the trance. Her neck/back issue is allegedly cured. That one was spread by others in the church, but when I asked her about it, she insisted it was just a coincidence. Still, I was intrigued. Could these shamatus really heal people? What other kinds of powers did people in this church have?
Psychosomatic perhaps. Do you believe they literally evoked God to cure this woman's neck and back pain?
I think the majority of harm that this cult did to me was in suppressing my own agency. There was a structure to this church, and it was easy to just take orders, let other people decide things for me, get really high a couple times a month, and have someone else sort out the spiritual stuff. For the first time in my life I had answers. The higher ups in the church were counselors who were there to talk to about your life problems. It was really great to be able to discuss hard life issues with people who were calm, collected, and knowledgeable. Except they were all reporting to Jay. I didn't know it at the time, but the counselors and the instructive body were all part of a network to spy on all of the socius in their day-to-day lives and make sure they were living within the dogma. Let me give you an example. Session but way closer to where I live. It's at my buddy E's house. Special occasion. Spend a month helping E prep the place. Create a stone staircase to the session site. Spend about 30 hours on the project. Never even ask for a cent. Session happens. It's a hecking good one. We have about 50 people. But we are so tranquil we attract a herd of deer who chill out with us for a while. All around cool shit. After session. Chillin' at E's house. Ryan is there. He's a tall ripped dude with a gorgeous wife, about 10 years older than me. Total role model. Want to tell him how much I appreciate him being a good role model for me as I turn my life around. I'm still super high, so it doesn't come out right. Kinda sounds like I'm hitting on him. He calls attention to it, but I clarify, and we laugh it off. I'm embarrassed but otherwise think nothing of it. Ryan is a cool guy. Fast forward a few weeks. End of a session, Jay gives us all a lecture about how it's good to be friendly in the church but something sanctity of marriage. Okay, whatever, kinda weird. Jay approaches me after the session. Did you hear what I had to say tonight?
Very interesting thread. Please continue.
Really weird that you used that image talking about her. She was closely tied to images of owls. Most likely not psychosomatic. The shamatus have real power. She denied entirely that she was healed by God, but otherwise has no explanation for how she was suddenly better. One of the masters would say all healing comes from Jesus Christ, if that gives you any clue as to what kind of cult this was. Did you hear what I had to say tonight? Yes. You need to apologize to Ryan and his wife. Mayo what? You hit on him and that's not okay. No, that's not what happened. Doesn't matter, you need to talk with them and make this right. N-word, I'm not even gay. Whatever, talk to Ryan anyway. He literally busts out laughing when I tell him, OJ just misunderstands. Don't worry about it. I know you weren't coming on to me, okay? But he says I still have to talk to your wife, so I do that. She also laughs it off. Honestly seems like she is enjoying the situation more than anyone else. Also tells me not to worry about it. That was the first time I realized that there was reporting to Jay, but I didn't know the extent of it yet. Can't.
BRO, this place sounds ducked. How ducked is it that they took Mother Aya and twisted her around to control people? Are you still being monitored by this group? Did you have to run escape and change your life to escape their clutches? What, if anything, do you think the ulterior motive of this church is? Control, domination, subversion.
The religion itself is Brazilian. Most of the socius are also in Brazil, and the masters, teachers, who hail from there are considered to be much more knowledgeable and are highly respected. We would occasionally get guest masters from all around to direct sessions at our temple. Brazilian Mester. He fills my cup all the way. It's about 3 times as much as I normally have. Decide fuck it. Brazilians know best apparently. Down that bitch. Hits hard. Hits fast. I start to see through the cracks of the religion. I'm really not supposed to be here. My time in this cult is coming to an end. But I don't know why. Also been grappling with suicide recently. It comes on full force. I can't be in here anymore. Decide to head for the yurt nearby. Tell exactly one person where I'm going. Just foe. It's a blizzard outside. I can hear the snow falling off the roof of the yurt. Sound while I'm high is distorted too. It makes this otherworldly. ZZZZZZZIE sound as it falls off the canvas roof. Honestly pretty cool, but caught me off guard at first, since I was on high alert. Post up next to the heater and wait. Sure enough, one of the counselors shows up. Tell him about the suicide. We are both high as fucking giraffe balls. Somehow guides me in the correct direction and gives me the best pep talk for not killing myself I've ever gotten. Legit still think about it to this day, but you know he reported it to Jay. Now Jay knows that I'm potentially unstable, running away from sessions. I don't know it, but I'm on thin ice, and now being watched very closely. Continued.
Was this in San Francisco/OAKLANE by chance? You mentioned snow as well, maybe New York or East Coast. I grew up in Scientology, escaped the Sea Org, and am now living life as an attempt at an adult, and can definitely relate to creepy cult shit.
Do these people have any kind of connection to Samael on Weir? Because I have experience of light indoctrination from his church and know it is popular among Central and South American people who speak Spanish or Portuguese. I am getting a lot of similar vibes from this, especially the blending of shamanism with monotheistic doctrine.
You really hit the nail on the head, Anonymous. It really scares me when I think about S and where he is right now. They set him up with a Brazilian wife, who I've refused to meet. He still messages me occasionally, but he's not the same. Are you still being monitored by this group? Did you have to run escape and change your life to escape their clutches? I never had to run. I was forced out in the end. More on this later, but it was not my choice to leave. I doubt they watch me actively, but I'm certain Ness still reports on me, since he's now part of the secret internal society. I'm very careful with what I tell him. 26,913,011 thanks Anon. I'm just trying to sort through the mess that these people put me through. 26,913,035 anyway. I'll take a quick interlude to share some more of the life-that-id paranormal stories. Summertime, outdoor session. Sun is shining. Birds are singing. The Archerer is strong. Often comes with sound distortion I mentioned before. The cicadas. Couldn't tell what it was at first. This otherworldly hum bust through my whole being. Sounded completely alien. Unlike anything I had ever heard before. Like UFO was about to come pick me up from this open field. Eventually realize it's the cicadas and sound distortion. Hardly paranormal, but I still think about that sound. Never heard anything like it since. Another outdoor session, but this time it's raining. We're in a different spot in a clearing, surrounded by trees though. Luckily I'm under one of the pop-ups, huddled in my sleeping bag, just cozy as all get out. I look forward from my seat and I can see a woman's face in the trees. Obviously it's just an awesome coincidence of branches and trees meshing together to make a face, but it's really something more. I can tell. It's a female spirit showing herself to me. At one point I get up to check her out from other angles. She's only visible from exactly where I was sitting. Continued. Finishing this then replies. She's only visible from exactly where I was sitting. Storm is going crazy. Can't even hear what's being preached in the session. So I tune into this spirit. She speaks in the language of the trees. I'll learn about her life here protecting this forest. She's been here for hundreds of years. These people in the church take good care of this land. She's happy. It used to not be this good. Fuzzy on the details. I don't speak tree. Storm calms eventually. Texan Mester gets up to talk. Real cool dude. Talks with the drawl and everything. Tells us how this land used to be owned by loggers, but this clearing was spared. All the trees were considered poor material for their Y shape. Sure enough, all the trees around the clearing are split halfway through to grow in a Y. He doesn't say, but I know it was the spirit protecting this clearing for us. All of the branches that form her face while he's saying this are from the white trees. She winks at me. Fucking winks at me, WTF. After the session I tried to tell S about it. He was right next to me. Try to tell him, but he says he has to go. It never comes up again. Possibly one of my favorite memories of this time. Really cool to have the spirit show me the inner workings of the trees and how they moved water from the ground into their leaves. 26,913,067. One of the nucleus is in San Francisco. Yes. I'd love to hear more about Scientology and your experience with them. Since getting removed from this cult I've had a sick fascination with other cults like Scientology. I'd say let's connect off 4chan, but that's sketchy at best. 26,913,090. I've never heard of Sammy Lawn. We're in relation to this cult. I do know that the McKenna brothers had contact with the members of the church, and while they never associated, they did drink the tea provided by this church. Maybe that's not something Dennis wants me to share, since there were many closely guarded secrets in this church, but there it is. One more light-hearted story, then I'll get back into the dark shit. Day of the session. I leave town around midday, usually fuck around until then, relaxing playing video games. This morning though I can't really find my cat, not a big deal, since she roams outside, but I won't be seeing her for a day or so. When I go to a session, call for her for a bit before I leave, no dice. Oh well, I'll see her when I get home. Session time, drink my tea, close my eyes, and I'm no longer in the temple, I'm back home. In my gaming chair, LMAO WTF, my cat hops up on my lap, Mittens. My goodness, there you are. Don't you know I was looking for you all morning? Proceed to rub the pussy. Generally stoked I get to hang out with my cat. Get snapped back to the temple by a shamateur. That one was really cool, because my cat was in the same spot when I got home. Didn't act like I had been gone all weekend either, so it seems obvious to me that she received the attention.
Is this the cult top?
Yes. Back to the darkness. Decide to check out other nucleus. Go check out the temple in another state. It's ducking huge. Literally like 5 times the size of my home temple. Kinda intimidated. Really nervous. Don't really know anyone, but I'm good at making friends. Session time. Get poured too much. Actually ask for a little less. Master puts the extra in his glass. Oh boy. Still have an extremely uncomfortable session. Spend most of it in the bathroom with digestion issues. Aka trying not to shit myself. At one point I'm back in my seat. Old Brazilian woman walks behind me. Smack. She fucking fainted. The sound was her noggin hitting the hard floor. Holy shit. I can't be here. Seriously start having a panic attack. Crouched over in my seat rocking back and forth the rest of the session. The evil is palpable in the air. She ends up being okay, but the whole situation leaves me rattled. I'm not sure where to go from here, so I guess I'll skip to the end. Most of the people in the church are older, like 50 to 70. Next largest age group is like 30 to 50. Not a lot of guys like me in their 20s. A couple of the families have kids though. All of the kids can drink the tea. They range from literal babies all the way to teenagers. Make friends with the older teenagers, because there's not really anyone else to relate with. I'm only like 3 years older than them anyway, so I don't see a problem with it. Boy was I wrong. I'd been being watched, because of course, I realized this a little after the Ryan incident, so I approached the mother of one of the teenage girls who's friends with me. This girl has been uncomfortably close. I don't want any trouble. Pull her mom aside and lay out my concerns. She laughs and tells me not to worry about it, says her daughter is prime breeding age. Okay. Keep my distance even more because WTF. Still friends with the other teenagers and a couple of the kids. Some of the young adults, 18 to 19, are friends with me outside of church. They even ask me about pot. Since I'm the cool older guy, tell them it's okay to get high, but don't become a 420 LMAO weed guy. Balance kind of thing. Teenagers are pretty cool, but it can be kinda weird to be drinking ayahuasca with them. Just kinda have to get over it. I shit you not, I drank ayahuasca with babies on multiple occasions. Pregnant women as well. Nothing is off limits for these people. We are having a church campout. I'm taking on more responsibilities in the church. So is S. We are learning Portuguese and Shamatus, asking questions in sessions that they won't tell us the answers to because we're not part of the instructive body. S and I are hyping up to be elevated into the secret society shit. He's even gone on a trip to Brazil to make the tea and bring it back. We are both working hard the whole camp out. I'm making a video, so getting lots of footage, doing interviews, that kind of thing. At one point I'm passing through the temple and I bump into one of the teenage girls, give her a quick side hug, but otherwise think nothing of it. Gotta keep it platonic. Fast forward to later that night. Ryan grabs me from the fire, takes me to J, shrouded in the darkness. Oh shit, someone reported me for speaking to the girl inappropriately and touching her. Nigger, I said hi and gave her a side hug. That's not what my informant says. I demand the girl be questioned knowing she'll defend me, being my friend and all. There's no need for that. Session the next day. I'm still fucking pissed about these false accusations, but I try to let it go to have a good session. It's a pretty intense one. I see a Brazilian man, the founder of the religion. He's holding his hand out to me, asking me for something. Again, I can see all the souls around me. I can see their bodies shrouded in darkness. He's holding his hand out to them too. They all breathe out some of that life essence I saw in a previous vision. He collects it. He gestures to me. As I have not given him my breath, I hold my breath. He's insistent. I refuse. I'm ripped from this vision and run to the bathroom to vomit. Literally vomit every drop of the tea out. Fucking weird, but I'm still high as shit. So I just go back to sitting down. Arrive just in time for a big announcement. S has been elevated to the secret society. A few of my other friends as well. The people who I'm closest with in the church. But not me. My name is not called. Okay, I guess I'll keep working. Continue to do my duties for the weekend, but leave a little early. Still disgusted by the false accusations, but it doesn't come up again. Fast forward 2 weeks. It's my birthday. Yay. Happy birthday calls start rolling in. Up first is Jay. You're removed from the church. Excuse me, WTF. Yay, we are confident that you're a child abuser and are a danger to the children and the church. Excuse me, what the FK? He hangs up, unable to comprehend what just happened. S calls me next. I tell him what happened. Voice dead, feeling betrayed. The church had been my life. I had even been employed by people in the church. Slowly all the calls come in. Only other person I tell is Eric. A couple of the counselors call to wish me a happy birthday. That's so fucked up. A few calls and I'm irate, demanding some sort of justice. They just hang up on me after wishing me happy birthday at a certain point. By the end of the day I'm a complete fucking mess. My mother takes me out to dinner, tell her what happened. Totally ruins the evening. It's okay, I'm dead inside anyway. A few days pass. No one in the church stands up for me. Not even S. Finally I get a call from E. He got an official warning from the church for disputing my removal. TFW, I'm literally too evil to defend. And before you assholes ask, no, I never did anything to warrant this accusation. No evidence was ever provided at any point, but none was ever needed.
You didn't need that crowd anyway.
It seems from my point of view a blessing in disguise, but I'm just some random anonymous. If they pulled that on you, I can only guess what they would do to the higher-ups if they got out of line, mistakenly or otherwise.
Anyway, that's about the end of it. It's been difficult to return to normal after a year of drinking that stuff every weekend. None of the people in the church talk to me. A few have reached out or vice versa, but the conversations have been brief, topical. Obviously I lost my job with one of the other associates as well. E and I are still on good terms. We talk often. S sided with the church entirely. He believes them. At some point I thought that the people who I had grown to know and love would stand up for me, and maybe some would even leave in solidarity with me, but no one did. I'm not sure what they told everyone in the end. I'm forging ahead as much as I can, finding balance between who I was before and who I was in the church. Who I'm now is a mix of these people, but with a burning hatred of cults and religion. Probably the worst part was having my social circle ripped from me so suddenly and so completely. It kinda sounds weak typing it out, but such a visceral devastation left me unable to function for many months afterwards. I spent a lot of time unemployed or hopping from job to job. Eventually I got control of it all and have a solid job and am back in school, but it was iffy for a moment. That's my story. Maybe a bit anticlimactic at the end, but that's how life goes. I'll hang around if you guys have any more questions about the church, the tea, or my story. I have a few more one-offs in me of other weird paranormal stuff that happened, so I'll post those as well. Thanks for listening /x/ this really has made me feel better about everything.
Is that
A satisfying end, and a cautionary tale for those seeking meaning and the thrill of what is beyond the ordinary. Glad to know you were doing better after all this, Anon.
That was a nice read. Thank you, Anon, for pouring your heart out. Lots of love, brother.
Thanks for chan people, it means a lot. Honestly, I'd love to take it again in a different setting. Unfortunately, the most dangerous parts of the cult are hard to remember, because I've spent so much time mentally blocking them, but they had weird protocol and sayings. Stuff like the headmaster always knew what was happening in the lives of the socialists. Or if someone higher up asked you to do something, you just had to say sim senor and do it. But the most harmful was what I would call toxic positivity. It's exactly what it sounds. Positivity taken all the way to the point where it's dangerous. They teach a bastardized version of Catholicism. But instead of God and Satan, it's the superior force and the other force. They don't even call it the negative force, because using negative words is giving it power. They structure their entire way of speaking around this idea. Think about every slightly negative thing in your life that seems completely innocuous. Deviled eggs. I think you mean angel eggs. Yay, that's the level these people would go to. So I went along with it and it really fucked me up. I effectively suppressed all negative thoughts and emotions for a full year, leading to various violent outbursts, where I would do crazy shit like punch walls. One night I went out to the bars looking for fights and found one. Really fucked a guy up too. Never did that kind of shit before or since.
Talk about the breath that you did not give up. Talk about the intricate details that you felt out of place or dark/insidious die.
I assume the founder of the religion is dead. What do you think this meant? Was everybody feeding the founder some sort of energy in the afterlife? Did them seeing this happen become the final straw in excommunicating you? Was there a feeling of what might happen if you did feed him the breath of life? As in good, bad, or possibly lose yourself completely to the cult? Thanks for the story, by the way.
Portuguese, probably more Brazilian lingo. Oh, I think I know what church you are talking about. They have some places here in Argentina too.
You seem like a good person. If you keep living as best you can, I think you'll find yourself again.
They sounded like energetic parasites looking to feed off of people. You dodged a bullet, OP.
Yep, classic energy parasites. The allegations of child abuse are a classic way of reputation tarnishing for the purpose of kicking a member out. Make your own Ayahuasca, you dumsy.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.